Council President Pirtle-Guiney, just to start, can you tell us what is the Protect Portland initiative?
So, a lot of counselors have been working on different approaches to make sure that we are doing everything we can to set Portland up to be strong in our approach to the federal administration's, I'm going to say, overreach. The Protect Portland initiative is one of those efforts, and it is a broad look at how we want to approach our work of protecting our city, protecting our residents against that federal overreach. Does a number of very tangible things, asking the mayor to take actions around how our city employees are trained, um, speaks to some specific actions we need city bureaus to take, including our city attorneys, around regular FOIA requests so we understand what work the federal administration is actually doing in Portland, asks our law enforcement officers, our Portland Police Bureau, to interact in some specific ways with federal agents who are engaging in immigration detentions, and also extends many of our sanctuary policies to our city contractors, among other pieces.
It does a whole lot. And thank you for touching on some of the highlights there. I know when I was looking through it, I also saw the resolution demands that the federal agencies, including the White House, stand down from their deployment in Portland. It also commits the city to reporting any known federal deployments or actions related to protest activity. On that point specifically, having the city report federal activity there, do you have an idea of what that would look like, assuming this resolution is passed?
Right now, we have a very good relationship between the city council and the mayor, and there's a great flow of information. We want to make sure that in the future, right, this federal administration is around for 4 years, that we continue that flow of information so that we, as counselors who have deep relationships in our communities, can share information with community members so they know what to expect around federal agents operating within the city of Portland.
Why now? Why choose to put this resolution forward at this point? We mentioned we're having this interview 2 weeks to the day that kind of troops being deployed to Portland was first being heard of and was first being talked about. So it's 2 weeks in. Why now?
So I want to be clear, this is a group effort. And my colleague, Councilor Avalos, first put forward the idea of a broad scale resolution as part of our approach to the federal administration. My colleagues, Councilor Koyama Lane and Councilor Clark, have been instrumental in helping to craft what we have before us. And we've worked with various bureaus and community partners to make sure that the language here is right. It takes a little bit of time to get all of those pieces together. There are a number of counselors who have been working on different approaches to ensuring that we're doing everything we can to support our community through this conflict, frankly, that we're having with the president. And what you'll see this coming week is the first of those efforts coming forward for council to debate. This is one of them. And you'll see us continue to work on various approaches over the next month or so. We put this together as quickly as we could.
Understood. Another aspect of the resolution that jumped out to me was kind of the directives for Portland Police. You mentioned it has a couple of commitments in terms of how PPB should interact with federal officers. One of the items in the resolution says that PPB officers should ask federal officers for ID when they're not clearly marked. Do you think that having PPB have ID federal officers, do you think that that is a crucial part of this resolution? I'm sure just that I can imagine that that might set up some interesting interactions between Portland officers and federal officers.
So I want to be clear, Portlanders have the right to know what federal agents are engaging with our residents in our community, in our home, and what those federal agents are doing and which federal bureaus they are representing. That is something that we have the right to know. Now, there are limitations to what PPB can do to force a federal officer to identify themselves. And that's why that portion goes on to say, if they identify themselves, fantastic. Let's verify that that is who they are by checking in with their bureau. And if they won't identify themselves, we need to log that. And then we need to investigate who might have been doing work in our community at that time. Again, because Portlanders have the right to know what federal agents are doing in our community, in our home, and who is operating here.
One thing I want to ask you about while I have the chance is that earlier today, President Trump, during a press conference about a separate topic, was asked about National Guard troops, and he mentioned Portland again. And he was saying that I want to read just some of his quote. He said, "Every time I look at that place, it's burning down. There's fires all over the place." He went on to say, "It's not wonderful. It's a disaster that's almost an insurrection." Any thoughts on those comments?
Well, the president is adamant that he is going to find a way to send the National Guard to our city. And Portlanders have greeted that ridiculous statement, the ridiculous statements he's making with levity. And I really appreciate that because it is so the Portland way to take that ridiculousness and meet it head on with levity. We have frogs out. We have folks in chicken suits out. And one of my favorite things is we now have a website called Is Portland on Fire? Similar to that Is It Snowing in Portland website that we often see in the winter, that is actually tracking Fire Bureau calls. And you'll see that Portland is not on fire. And it is a wonderful place, despite what the president says.
Any last thoughts or things from the Protect Portland initiative you think I may have missed? What can people expect next week when this comes to a full council vote?
We've worked hard with partner organizations, with groups that are working closely with our immigrant communities, with the Portland Police Bureau, and with others to make sure that this is a resolution that has strong support. I expect that we will see a lot of people talking about what's happening in Portland right now and all of the things that we can do to meet the manufactured crisis that the president is trying to create. I want to be clear, there is no crisis, but the president is trying to manufacture one. All the ways that we can meet that head on. And my colleagues, Councilor Avalos, Council Vice President Koyama Lane, Councilor Clark, and I will bring this forward as one way to help us do that. Hopefully one that can frame up the values that we are approaching all of our work with and help create a guide for us as we continue to find all the ways that we can support Portlanders through this time.
Okay. And it's you and three other councilors that are bringing this forward, correct?
Yes, one from each district.
There we go. All right. President Pirtle-Guiney, thank you very much for the time. That's all I got.
Thank you so much. Take care.